Well, hello. It is that time again. It is time for the Tao Te Ching. This is your daily dose of the Tao. I don't know, I'm going to come up with rhymes and little things to funneling into the Tao of the day. Every day, Monday through Friday, I want to share with you something that has brought me so much joy, and I want you to come on and pick a number from 1 to 81, and we will read your Tao of the day. Um, I have over 20 years clean and sober, and a large aspect of that is understanding what it means to be reasonable in my life. What is a reasonable request of a day, or what is a reasonable request of myself or others? And the Tao Te Ching translates to the canon of reason, and that or the path of reason, or the way of reason, and is living a life that is reasonable. And when we do that, we can relieve ourselves of a lot of pain. And the Tao has magical qualities to it. I don't know how it works, but when you pick a number that is calling to you, you will inevitably find a message that you need to hear, so that you can go on with your day in a much, it's in a, just knowing that you're being supported, right? Knowing that you have support in the world. And that's what this is about. I want to support you. And so I want you to come up and pick a number. And if you're listening and you're not up for picking a number between 1 and 81, I don't know why that would be difficult. We do dive into it, and it's fun and it's exciting, and we can connect. And that's something that I would love to do with you if you're available and want to talk. I believe I have my timer set for 15 minutes. That has been a perfect opportunity and a perfect time for me to connect with, go through each one of these with you personally, and go through it line by line, read the whole thing, go through it line by line, and see if there's any place that it resonates. I am not interested in knowing why or how it resonates. You're going to know that. And when you do, it's going to change your day. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were like, I set my intention to have a good day. And this person, like the fact that I did that, it affected this other person. I was like, maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but that doesn't matter, right? Like, it doesn't matter if it does or it doesn't. But what matters is that you're making an intention for yourself. And the Tao, it's a special thing when you pick a number, and we've gone through many numbers since I've started this. When you pick a number, there is always a little something in there. There's just a little nugget that you can walk away from to help you feel just a little more calm, help you feel a little less alone, help you feel a little more confident in taking actions that you need to take to go forward with your life. And it's helped me out of my addictions. So if you have like little things that you do in your day that you'd like to just shift, the Tao might be a good place to look. Anytime someone used to come in my car, and sit in my car, and if they would start to open up to me and tell me what's going on in their life and what they wanted to accomplish or do, and the struggles and whatever, I would grab my little pocket-sized Tao Te Ching, and I'd say, pick a number. It picked, like, I don't know, 34. Since I picked that, I'm going to go ahead and pick that, and I'm going to read that to you just because that came out of nowhere for me. So I would just, they'd say 34. And then I'd say, okay, well, why don't you read it? And then this is what they would read, because this is 34, and this is what we're going to do right now. The great Tao flows everywhere. All things are born from it, and yet it doesn't create them. It pours itself into its work, yet it makes no claim. It nourishes infinite worlds, yet it doesn't hold on to them. Since it is merged with all things and hidden in their hearts, it can be called humble. Since all things vanish into it and it alone endures, it can be called great. It isn't aware of its greatness. Thus, it is truly great. That is really poignant for me at this moment. And we're going to go through it. And once again, I'll be able to return 34 and continue talking about this is my number for the day. This is something for me. And maybe it resonates with you as well. And we're going to go through and see how it resonates for me. And maybe you have a different take on that. And if you wanted to talk about 34, I'm open to that as well. But you have a number inside of you. There's something to know, and I want to be able to present that to you through this medium. Wisdom is a great place to talk about deeper things, talk about that next step we have to take. Yes, you can go out and you can get yourself a mailing list, and you can get yourself create a you can create market viable options. Your life is bigger than the market. Your life, and if you are living your life under the influence of the market, then you are giving yourself a great disservice. You're doing yourself a great disservice, because you are so much greater than that. So the great Tao flows everywhere. And that's just the first sentence. So the great Tao flows everywhere. It is everywhere, right? It does not miss a spot. You know, the great Tao is in the crack house where everybody believes they're getting away with something. And it is in the prison, and it is by your side. It is by your side when you are inebriated, by your side when you are not. And so it's important to understand that the Tao, everything about the Tao is neutral. We talk about God in terms of religion and things as, he's good and he's benevolent and he's, all of these things. But the Tao is a little different from that. We look at it from the space of neutrality. The Tao is everywhere. All things are born from it, and yet it doesn't create them. As an artist, I did this project of portraits, and the portraits, I always looked at the portraits as a byproduct of the actual work that was being done, right? So the work that was being done is the connection I was making to people, and all things being born from it, yet it doesn't create them. I mean, I was making a portrait, but I wasn't creating the work, because the work was happening. And because the work was happening and it wasn't being created, I couldn't take any credit for it. It just was what it was. And this moves us into the next line. It pours itself into its work, yet it makes no claim. When you help a friend, or when you want to step in and do something, and you're like, yes, I helped you, that's messed up, right? Like, if you're helping somebody and you want credit for helping them, rather than allowing them the space to realize that they actually made the choice, even to that's the real work. That's the Tao within you. That is you working as the Tao. You poured yourself into your work, whatever that is. If you're an accountant, if you're I mean, I don't know, all the accountant things are coming up because that's the last thing I would want to do. Not really. I mean, I don't care. Numbers are fine. But I think that's, that's the story, right? Like, oh, you just became an accountant. Like, well, so like, people love numbers, man. Math is very exciting to me. But either way, you pour yourself into your work. My work being my painting, and my work being the connections I make to people. My work being my recovery. My work being all of these things. And when I pour myself into my work, I can't claim, like, when people tell me congratulations on having over 20 years clean and sober, I can't really claim that. It's really difficult. Like, I can say thank you, I appreciate it, but, like, I don't claim anything, because it's not as if I did anything. And I'm not saying that as a, well, by not drinking, you actually didn't do anything. The point, like, the point is that it happened because I received the Tao, right? Like, because I received, and not the Tao Te Ching. I don't know that how early in my sobriety the Tao came into focus, but it was this, I was able to receive that which flowed everywhere. It nourishes infinite worlds, yet it doesn't hold on to them, right? This is a lot like parenting. Yeah, I'm not a parent. I mean, it's apparent I'm not a parent. I just like to use things. I just like to say things like that. But one of the things, like, is being a parent. You are not the owners of your children. Your children are individuals, and they're gonna do and be who they are, and that has very little to do with you, right? You are their mentors, maybe you are their guides. And I've been talking to friends, children. We remember who we were before these people were our parents. We remember our future. We remember these things because that's who we are. And like in this idea of it nourishes infinite worlds. Those infinite worlds are within us, but we can't hold on to them, right? We don't want to hold on to the past. We don't want to hold on to the identity. We don't want to hold on to the definition. We want to be present with it all without having to hold on. So since it is merged with all things, it is hidden in their hearts. There's a lot of language out there, like look to your heart, follow your heart, do all this stuff with your heart. But that is where the doubt resides. And so, yes, they are talking about like your heart is a great entry level to an entry place to the Tao today. I don't want to claim that it will always be. The brain eventually may mature to the point that in order to touch the Tao, you will be able to use the brain as well. But right now, the brain is really stuck in manifestation, right? Like the brain is stuck in what you are experiencing within the manifestation. That being, your richness or poverty level, your ability to attract a mate or a lover or a relationship, whatever it is you're looking for. Your the pain in your body. Pain in your emotional body, pain in your spiritual body, all of those sorts of things like um, are you're able to connect with through your heart, and that's because it's all connected to the whole. It's all connected to everything that you are, and because of this, because it is hidden in it, because the Tao is hidden in our hearts, it can be called humble because it is not trying to do what we so often like to do. We so often like to jump in. And this is the Tao of the day for anybody who's continuing to listen. I really appreciate you being on. Please come pick a number between 1 and 81, and I want to go through what your Tao of the day is today. I had said the number 34 today, and so I'm reading that for myself and for you to have you understand what the Tao has to offer us. So since it is merged with all things, it is hidden in their hearts. It can be called humble. And, and it's because of this. It is because it is hidden and because it is part of everything, right? It doesn't, like, no one person, no one entity can claim it. So it doesn't have an ego, right? It's not trying to be like, look, I'm the Tao. I'm the one that did this. And that's, I feel, well, the direction that we want to go as well. We want to go into a place where we can be like, that's not me, right? That is like I am present to this. I am witness to this, but I don't have to claim it, right? Claiming things gets us feeling proud. Claiming things gets us feeling, accomplished. Claiming things gets us feeling those things that can lead to addiction. Like I want to give a lot, to give deeply to the people that I love. And sometimes I can see myself wanting to give and realizing there are human things behind that. It's not just the Tao. It's me kind of being like, oh, I'm really happy with who I am because I am able to do this. Look at how great I am. And I keep that in check. I keep that in check. Don't think that I'm out there like, like not recognizing, I can recognize. but but it's important for me to put that in check. It's not necessarily it's not something that I have to do in order to, like, I don't have to fess up. I just get better. I get better at the things that I do because the reason it came out, the reason the other person received it was because they needed to receive it. The reason I'm putting it out might be because I'm looking to feel good about myself. Well, the reason that I'm doing that is so that I can see that I am, you know, I am progressing down a path that I don't want to go down, right? I don't want my actions to be, driven. I don't want my actions to be driven by wanting to feel better about myself. I want to be present where I am as who I am. And if that, if I show up as that, I know that I am going to be guided to the best, right? And so, and that's about being humble, right? Being humble in the fact that like I am present, I am not in control, right? Like, and what my words and what my actions unveil or present to another person, that is for them and not for me, right? And I don't have to take credit for that. Since all things vanish into it, and it alone endures, it can be called great. Now, this is one of the things that I really enjoy about the Tao. It's this idea of dying without or perishing without dying. And here, since all things vanish into it, they're talking about the Tao. They're talking about the Tao, so the greatness of all things here, right? Like, and it alone endures, and because it alone endures, it can be called great. It will continue forever for it, right? It and everything that it has created ceases to exist as well. But we are within its creation, and so we can look at it as being great, right? But this goes down to the small, largest, right? If it can't work at, it's not truth, right? So when and this is the way science looks, right? Everything work across the fields, and that's where science is moving, right? Like, and those paradoxes when it's like, oh, it works on a large scale, but it makes sense because everything should be able to work. I mean, if it's truth, it should be able to work wherever, and that's what when we look at this in our lives, if we experience this sentence, since all things vanish into it and it alone endures, it can be called great. If we say that it here is you, since all things vanish into you, right? Because you don't see all of that gets translated into you, right? Because this light is actually traveling. It's not like things are standing still. You're actually witnessing light moving from an object into your eye. So everything is actually vanishing into you, and you continue to endure. Now, you can also vanish into you, right? Your identity can shed. The ideas you have about yourself. If you're a father and your child dies, are you still a father? Maybe, but that is all in your perception. Like, it has vanished. The father, like the thing that made you father, has vanished. But you continue to endure. If you change your jobs, the identity that you called engineer vanished, but you endure. The neighbor, if you're a neighbor and then you're not, or whatever, all of the things that you bring up, in the manifestation, everything that you experience, right? Like, from the light of things you see to the identities that you carry to the definitions that you put on everything, all of those things are going to vanish, and you are going to endure, because the world that you're experiencing is being experienced through you, right? It's very interesting when we talk about like religion and we talk about all of these sorts of ideas about what is it that endures, right? And I lost a point. Well, sometimes that happens with me. I'm going to take a pause and I'm going to see if I can. No, it's gone. All right. So moving on. It isn't aware of its greatness. Thus, it is truly great. Have you ever met great men who knew they were great? They're not that great. Have you ever met great people who like just are doing their thing and loving it? Those are great people. And those are people that are going to inspire many, many people. Like deeply. They're going to inspire people deeply to be who they are because they're able to be who they are. And in that, they find greatness. And they don't expect, and I think great people don't expect other people to be anything but who they are. And when I interact with anybody, I want to help them be who they are. I say all the time, I actually mentioned this, I don't know, yesterday or this morning. I don't recall. I think it was last night. I mentioned to somebody that like, hey, one of the things that I say about my practice is like, look, if you come to me and you're a murderer, you're going to leave and be a better murderer. You are a murderer. Now, if you're not a murderer and you're hiding yourself behind murder, then you won't be a murderer when you're done working with me. But if you are, then I don't want to stop you from that. Even if that means you're going to murder me, that's okay. Like I will yield to that because I don't want you to be someone that you're not so I can continue to be someone who I am. Being who I am means that I welcome death. And if that means welcoming death at your hands, well, so be it. Not that I'm going to elect to do that, but if that's the way that this is going to go, like, well, that's the way this is going to go. And I feel like when we can be in the presence of great people, we will become great people. And we can be in touch with the Tao. And it's oftentimes that we get into these weird little quagmires of oh, nobody's looking, I'm gonna eat a cookie. Oh, nobody's looking, I'm gonna go jerk off. Oh, nobody's looking, I'm gonna, whatever. I'm gonna hurt somebody. I'm gonna kick this dog. I'm going to drink. As long as nobody's looking. We gotta really kind of look at that aspect of what is true greatness. Because if you're, in this last line, it isn't aware of its greatness, thus it is truly great. When you think this concept of, well, nobody's looking, you're aware of greatness and you're aware of what it looks like and you're trying to achieve it. And in order to try and achieve it, you have to hide that which you don't believe is part of greatness. And so when you start engaging in the world, and when you start, and you're going to engage with the Tao, and the Tao is everywhere. In the rooms and in the world of recovery, I say you're only cheating yourself. You're only hiding from yourself. You're only hurting yourself. But when you don't have anything, when you don't have any self-respect, or when you don't have any self-confidence, what's the big deal? Why should I care? What does that mean? And all of these things, right? When you pour yourself into your work and make no claim, like you're not trying to say, look, I helped this lady across the street, give me a fucking medal. You're saying, no, I just did that. And the Tao talks a lot about doing nothing. And that doesn't mean no thing. It means your life should be filled with things that come so natural, you don't even recognize that you do it. That it's you. Like you are fulfilling you out there in the world. You're not holding on to all of the, in this verse it says it nourishes infinite worlds, yet it doesn't hold on to them. You're not holding on to this as a possession. You're not trying to say these are my friends and they do this for me and it's a possession of mine, or this is my cat, or this is my kid, or this is my job, or and those are infinite worlds. Like are a you experience yourself as a finite being, right? But the infinite is within you. And that is something that flows everywhere. So you have access to everything. And everything vanishes within you, right? Like an experience happens and it is gone. And it is gone into your life. Now, that experience that you had, and if someone was standing 3 feet from you and had the same and went through the same experience, they will have processed it extremely differently. So you both are having different experiences in the same location at the same time, and yet you are going to be affected by it differently. So all things vanish into it, and yet it alone endures. And it can be called great because we can experience this and endure through that. And that changes everything. We as individuals can each be called great. The Tao isn't aware of its greatness, thus it is truly great. And that's where we really would like, I think I would like people to get to, right? Like to a point where we understand that we're not trying to be great. We are great. And if we can just be who we are, be as we are, be born and grown and experience life as we are, that we can then be truly great. You are truly great. There's nothing holding you back from that other than yourself. You are truly great. And the balance in your life and the balance around you is all making itself known. Because the Tao is great and flows everywhere. All things are born from it, yet it doesn't create them, right? You were not created by the Tao. You are part of that. You will eventually vanish into it. And everything that happens in your life is present for you to learn and grow from. Okay, that was 34. What chapter? And I see how that works in my life at this moment, and I'm really glad for this reminder that like I don't want to take credit. I want to be present to the growth and all of the things that come the work that I do. But I don't want to take credit. And that's one of the things that working with me is really special, because for you to be yourself. When people are done working with me, they're always saying, man, I just feel the first time. You trust yourself. You love yourself. You can embrace who you are because you are you. We can't, like, this world cannot go on without you. There's no way. There's nothing can be further from the truth that you're expendable. Breath you take contributes to this whole. I want to invite anybody that's listening to come on and give me a number. Give me a number for your Tao for today. I picked 34. What's your number? I would love to know. I ask you to pick a number between 1 and 81. We'll go through the Tao just like I did for 34, and we'll read through it. We'll talk about it individually, like line by line. We may not get through the whole thing, but that's okay. Go look it up. If anybody is interested in getting a link to translations of the Tao Te Ching, I would encourage you to send me a message on Instagram send me a DM on Instagram and I'll send you the link to the Terabus site where they have literally translation of the, well, maybe not literally because I don't know all of the English translations of the Tao Te Ching, but they have a lot. And you know what? Because no one's coming on and I love the Tao so much, I am going to pick another translation. So that translation of the Tao was from Stephen Mitchell. Stephen Mitchell is a Tao scholar and married to Renee Brown, I believe, and they did an interesting project. So the Wayne Dyer translation is on here, and a lot of people know that guy. He's a good guy. He's done some good stuff. Was translated the early um, in the early 1900s, and it's a really great translation. I can't think of the name of the person who it was. I'm just scanning really quick to see if you have an uh,